Let's make a movie together. This is a series where bit by bit, each video, we work together to create a story for a feature film. Stick around until the end and I'll give you the next instructions for this series. What has happened so far? You guys have helped us choose a title, choose a genre, a concept, and a protagonist. And in the last video, I got you guys to help us define those main characters a bit more, and you've given us so much detail to work with, so thank you very much for doing that. Before I actually go through what you're doing, I'm just gonna confirm what it is that we have in this series so far. The title of the film is Cast a Dark Shadow. And I was thinking about it, I think this is actually quite a good title. I feel like Cast a Dark Shadow sort of implies the action of intentionally creating or casting a shadow, which I think is suitable considering the concept we're going with. The genre is a psychological thriller. We have two main characters, which is Leo, who is a seasoned detective, and Alex, who is a bit more of a newcomer to this line of work. The concept that we are going with is has been a series of gruesome murders linked to the disappearance of an ancient artifact that allows its users to control shadows. Now, let's just go through what you guys have said from the last video. Silhouette6828 says, I think Leo is reaching retirement and he's realizing that he's spent his whole adult life as a detective just working. I think he realizes he doesn't really have hobbies and doesn't really know how to interact with people without looking for information. I think he may have had a wife and daughter, but something happened causing him to distance himself. Going to this small town and meeting Alex, who I imagine to be of a similar age to Leo's daughter, I think he sees his daughter in him and starts realizing how he has missed his daughter's life and can't get back her childhood. I think this also helps him seem more open to Alex than other people in his own gruff way. I think Alex is in over his head. He likes helping people and tends to have a lot on his schedule. When the murders start, he volunteers to take the case and seeks help from someone more experienced when realizing the case's complexities. I can imagine him being the type to always eat only homemade meals and being well known by the locals. He's the type of guy who Gertrude and Agnes invite over to crochet with him. I think he often shows up late saying, I had to get Julie her favorite ice cream, or Agnes made fresh cookies and you can't miss out on those. Alex is very much a people person and sometimes seems as if he doesn't take things seriously, until you bring up the fact that one of the victims was a wealthy old lady who Alex knew well, and can't you take this seriously, which hurts him deeply as he has a strong bond with everyone that is not in his age group. Then next up, Ethan Sawyers 8173 says, Leo is a long-time distancing detective, receives one last case before his big break. A few details: he's 39 years old, he has brown hair, brown eyes, his height is 6.2, so he's a kind of tall. He has always been a game changer in his line of work, uncovering the truth till his bones break. Leo is deceptive, straight thinking, and knows danger before it arrives. I think that's what he was trying to say. In one final case, can Leo restore peace, uncovering a dark mystery to a loved small town? Next after that is from A Man Chooses a Slave Obeys 1406. I think Leo could have had a past problem with his partner, death, corruption, or backstabbing. That brings much more of the trust issues he has alongside his city style. It's really hard for him to make any connection that is meaningful, and he is a cynic by design, but that actually makes him a great intelligent character, because he is always the one who will be looking more for the facts of the things that are happening and solving things that are more crucial. His greatest weakness would actually be his own cynicism, because he could start rationalizing everything and losing track of what really happens, especially supernatural. Maybe it even impaired his own relationship with people he once loved. That can be paired with a short temper and an old guy attitude. Alex would be a happy-go-lucky country boy who has his family, a drive to protect it, and a natural way with social interacting. He trusts most of his people and even trusts people out of the town more than the small townsfolk do. He is open and friendly. He always tried to settle things with non-violent methods, like breaking a fight between neighbors and making them not press charges. but that also means that he is easily manipulated by someone who is shown to be in distress. Most of his weaknesses come from trusting too much and living a life that had no major problems beside the small town gossip and bar fights. His weakness would be trusting too much and being easily impressed by kindness, horror, bad faith, and things that are unusual, which would complement and make the relationship with Leo hard because he is too polite. That can be explored by mistrust, forms of how they could be put against each other when an antagonist comes around, and not even mistrust, but their methods might make them bump into each other's heads. Both would be gruesomely awakened by this outside force and what it can do, how it does things, and the methods in which victims would appear. Then after that, we have the benevolent hedonist. To have the older Leo as a highly experienced but cynical, hard-bitten skeptic from the big city, and Alex as a young, local rookie full of ideals and exuberance is a bit cliche for my taste. Makes me think Dirty Harry meets Barney Fife. Good for comedy, but not for a psychological thriller. A great dramatic hero is usually the very best at something, but is burdened with a significant flaw, which is brought out and eventually resolved in the course of the story. Leo might be the state's best homicide detective with some of the usual strengths that implies, but he has a morbid fear of the dark, enclosed places due to some childhood trauma. Perhaps a recent incident in the city has brought this out. Now he sleeps with the light on. He might have a panic attack if he has to go into a dark basement. He's no coward in the face of violence, but he's paralyzed with fear if the power suddenly goes out at night. Torment from his shadow from the past haunts him and has robbed him of his self-confidence. Instead of being stereotypically cocky, he's uncertain and quite credulous of the paranormal because he's seen some things he can't explain. Similarly, Alex is not the stereotypical rookie. Yes, he is inexperienced, but he is exceptionally good at sleight of hand and magic tricks. His flaw is overconfidence, which comes from the lack of real challenges in this community and an arrogant certainty that there is no such thing as the supernatural. Maybe he's a follower of James Randi. Rather than being in awe of Leo, perhaps Alex is annoyed that some higher authority thought he needed help and sent Leo from the big smoke. Again, this flaw will be resolved in the course of the story. I think turning the cliche on its head in this way we should get a much more original story going around these two, and lots of scope for conflict and interplay outside of the main plot. They need each other to eventually resolve their flaws, not just to get through this investigation. Now, I have a lot of impatient questions. When is the movie set? What is the plot exactly? Who or what is the antagonist? How does the control of shadows enable the antagonist to commit murder? Meh, I'm running ahead. Great questions, by the way, and we'll get to those in a little bit. Then there is just one more little bonus comment here on the main video, which is, come on, man, AI in the main thumbnail. How are you supposed to be a filmmaker and using generative AI like that? Firstly, this particular series that we're working on, as you could probably tell, is largely conceptual, especially in these early stages. So we do need concept art. The use of AI and being a filmmaker aren't actually related. You know, you can use AI, you cannot use AI, you can still be a filmmaker, you cannot be a filmmaker. It's not even really connected. It depends on how you do it. So AI is cost effective and it's a lot faster to make. I can pretty much just go into it, make an image, make the video, and get it done. I did look into getting designers originally from sites like Fiverr and that kind of thing, and while the costs are somewhat low, there would be multiple images per video. And with this being an ongoing series, and with this channel being in its early stages, that would be coming out of my own pocket. But hey, if you want to donate to the channel or support us in any way, then hey, we can look at replacing our AI concept art with designed concept art from a human being. Over on our YouTube short, I think there was just one comment. Maybe they were saying this one as like a joke or something, I'm not entirely sure, but they said, Leo likes woman and Alex likes dog. But hey, I mean, it's not that far-fetched. Leo can like a woman in the film, and Alex can certainly be a dog person. Let's do it. We did not get a comment on Facebook. On Instagram from Trivicram _1989. Leo has a daughter. She has a rare medical condition. However, she came to this small town with his father, and Alex is a working officer in this town, and he doesn't like relationships due to his past trauma. And then I don't think we had anything on TikTok. Nope. Based on everything that you guys have said, I'm going to pick a few pieces and see what we can do with it, okay? And then let me know what you think. And remember, stick around until the end of the video because that's when I'll give you the next instruction for this series. So I think that Benevolent Hedonist had some great ideas. So one important rule when writing a story, as I briefly mentioned in the last video, is that the antagonist must be uniquely adept at attacking the protagonist's greatest weakness. This is why I love the idea of Leo having a fear of the dark. It also makes it quite unique, as it is less common for a seasoned adult to have a fear like this, much less a detective that has more than likely seen his fair share of disturbing sights. And then making Alex into someone inexperienced but mostly overconfident is also a great idea. Alex might believe that he can solve the case himself, so then when Leo comes into the situation, it immediately creates conflict between the two main characters, and conflict is the driving force in any story. A good story is one that evolves. It's a story when the characters face challenges, learn from those challenges, and become better people by the end, typically. So when you have a film about a duo, it's good to start with conflict, so we can then force the characters to learn and grow, which eventually resolves that conflict and helps them learn a valuable lesson, and then by extension teaches the audience a valuable lesson as well. So bam, I definitely think these should be some of the key ingredients for our main characters, so thank you for that. Now I'm going to take a few pieces from some of the other suggestions as well. Leo is afraid of the dark, but people aren't afraid unless something made them that way. Leo developing this fear as a child is fantastic, and we don't even necessarily need to reveal exactly what it was. It might help to keep it a mystery for now, at least. But then, as part of the inciting incident of the story, and an inciting incident is the moment in a film where something happens that forces our character out of their everyday life and into the main story. Some of you mentioned that maybe Leo had either a partner, a wife, or a daughter, etc. And we can include all of these, but for now I'm just going to take one of them, and let's say a daughter. Silhouette 6828 said that they imagine Leo's daughter to be the same age as Alex. That is also a pretty great idea because it at least gives a subconscious reason for Leo to have an interest in Alex. For either our introduction to the film or our inciting incident, or perhaps even just we reveal it at some point during the film, Leo had a daughter, and not very long ago, she died or went missing. I don't know the specifics of how she died, but I think Leo may have failed to save her due to his crippling fear of the dark. These are also just ideas, they're not set in stone, so let me know if you have any feedback on what I've done with these ideas. So then moving on, we need to establish the general beliefs and attitudes of these two characters. And again, to help create extra layers of conflict, it's good to make them contrasting. Leo has his fear of the dark, and maybe we can even imply that the cause of this fear could have come from something supernatural as well. But he's chosen to block out what happened, so the way he lives his life is through rejecting supernatural and superstitious ideas, because on a deeper psychological level, he's deeply afraid that his fear of the dark is actually for a real reason. This gives us a lot of potential for dramatic twists during the film. If Leo is the character who outright rejects superstitions, etc., then Alex needs to be a character who is much more open to the possibility of there being supernatural things in the world. Again, the Benevolent Hedonist said that Alex could be good at sleight of hand and magic tricks. And I think that's a fun idea, and I think someone interested in hobbies like that would also be prone to other similar types of hobbies and interests. So perhaps Alex can be the type of character who is deeply interested in pop culture, for example. So whenever something supernatural happens in the story, he has some kind of pop culture reference to help Leo and himself understand it. You do see this used as a tool quite often in stories, and that's because it solves a few purposes. One thing that it does is it makes the characters more relatable. It not only helps the characters make sense of what's happening, but it also helps the audience understand what's happening. So Alex hasn't necessarily seen any real supernatural events, but he is absolutely open to the idea and most likely excited about it as well, which could be partly why he wants to be the one to solve the case and not some crusty old guy that he doesn't know that's from outside of town. You guys also had a lot of other suggestions for details about these characters, and so many of these can absolutely fit in there, no problem at all. Then also, again, Benevolent Hedonist finished with some of those questions. When is the movie set? What is the plot exactly? Who or what is the antagonist? How does the control of shadows enable the antagonist to commit murder? These are fantastic questions, and we are going to answer these right now. If it's okay with you, I'm going to see if I can push our story a step further and answer some of these questions. Then stick around, because at the end of this video, I'll give you the instructions for the next step in this series. From what we've all been saying, I've been envisioning this film happening during the present day, so let me know if you agree or disagree with that one. As for the plot, we start with Leo in the city amongst civilization, then reveal that an ancient something, a tomb or a burial site, etc., has been found in a small town, and someone has either gone missing or there has been an unexplainable, gruesome crime scene with the remains of the former police sergeant of the small town, for example. Leo, either voluntarily or by force, leaves the city and goes to the small town. Then throughout the film, more gruesome murders keep happening, and it's up to Leo and Alex to stop it. For the other two questions about who or what is the antagonist, how does the control of shadows enable the antagonist to commit murder, this is what we plan to answer next. For this video, I'm going to simplify the question so that the newcomers can join in without too much pressure, kind of like how we did it in some of the first few videos. I'm going to get you guys to vote for the antagonist for this psychological thriller. Option 1, the murderer is one of the townsfolk. They found the ancient artifact either on purpose or by accident and are now using it to kill. To vote for this option, type local in the comments. Option 2, the murderer is some kind of ancient spirit, perhaps released from this tomb or burial site. It could even reside within the ancient artifact, could even be combined with another option where it is taking control of people and making them kill. To vote for this option, type in spirit in the comments. Option number 3, I'm not even sure how this would actually fit in, but I'm sure that there's a way. The antagonist of the story is somehow also one of our protagonists, either Leo or Alex. This could be done in all sorts of ways. Maybe this is why Leo is afraid of the dark. Maybe inside of the dark, he becomes something else. There's all kinds of creative ways that this could be used, so have a think. And to vote for this option, type corrupt in the comments. The fourth option, we establish some other new character specifically to become the antagonist. The person who uncovered the ancient site, maybe someone went missing a long time ago. It could somehow be Leo's own daughter somehow, which brings back the rule where the antagonist is uniquely adept at attacking the protagonist's greatest weakness. To vote for this option, type newcomer in the comments. Another option, which I'm not actually going to suggest, is some kind of dark organization behind it, because I think this comes a little bit too close to the film Hot Fuzz. Put your vote in the comments or let me know any other ideas you have, and I will see you in the next video.